Welcome to the Here's Hope Project, where your story creates hope. Now, I'm Sarah Jane, and I just can't even begin to tell you how excited I am about today's episode because we are talking all things music, about music therapy. Music has just completely transformed my life, and it's essentially what set the Here's Hope Project in motion. It all started with a story and a song. I got the idea back in 2015 when I was really struggling with my mental health. I have autism too, so I'd go nonverbal a lot. Because I was struggling with my mental health, going nonverbal and struggling speaking, that was a very frequent thing. So I was really struggling, finding my voice. And fortunately, I came across this story that really inspired me. And it was with this little boy that had Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and a traumatic brain injury. Decided to, got the idea to create a music video for him. And through that creation process, I found that voice. I found my voice. And, through creating these music videos, I just love that I can share, what it is that I see in these kids and in these families and help them, share their stories and things like that. If you don't know about the music videos that I create, please reach out. I would love to create something for you because I am so incredibly passionate about it and really believe in the power that music videos have and can make. So please reach out. But music, it can obviously help those that are struggling with mental health issues like myself, but it's really, really beneficial towards those that have, that are medically complex and deal with health issues. So I am actually bringing on a music therapist today. Her name is Katie. She works for an organization called the Melodic Caring Project. We will talk more about that organization in this. We're going to talk about, all things music therapy, the scientific evidence, the techniques that she uses in her sessions. I'm also going to bring on someone who receives music therapy from Katie to, discuss how it has helped her through her treatment. And then you're definitely going to want to stay until the end because Katie is actually going to give you a sample of some of the things and some of the things that she does in her music therapy session. And so you will get to experience firsthand what music therapy is like. Very excited. So definitely want to stay until the end. But yeah, let's just get into this.
'Cause it's here where we lay in the blanket of despair, where I'm weak but I'm strong and black smoke fills the air, where I'm burning broken.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
That's so weird to say since we're recording this kind of several months in advance. But, for those of you listening, Happy New Year. I hope your day is getting off to a great start. I am here with Katie, who is a friend, a colleague, and a music therapist for an organization called the Melodic Caring Project. And this is an organization that provides support and connection through music to those battling illness. I work with them too, and I'm wearing my Melodic Caring Project shirt, sporting that today. I was kind of thinking you might too.
I should have. I don't know why I thought I needed to dress all professional, but should have worn my melodic swag.
And then Francesca too. It could have been the three of us because she's with Melodic too, all three of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk more about that later on. But I'm super stoked. Music therapy, it's changed my life, completely transformed it. And today we're talking about the scientific evidence of how music therapy can benefit those with illness, some of the techniques that you use in your sessions, and then we'll bring on Francesca at the end to just share her experience working with you. And then we'll get a sample of what it's like to be in a session with you. So yeah, good to see you, Katie. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Sarah Jane. It's so good to see you too.
Yeah. Why don't you get us started just by telling us a little bit about yourself and what sort of got you into music therapy?
Absolutely. So I am a Nashville, Tennessee native. I was born and raised here, went to school here, and going into college, I've had a background in music performance and playing instruments, always been a big passion of mine. But another passion of mine has always been helping others and connecting with people and just getting to know them on a deeper level and seeing them reach their potential. And so I knew I wanted both. I didn't want to lose one or the other when I went into the professional world and came across this kind of new, kind of known, but still a little, kind of not as well known profession called music therapy that combines perfectly music and helping people. And I thought, okay, this is the perfect blend. This is exactly what I need to be doing. And so I graduated and received my board certification as a music therapist in 2021 and have been with Melodic Caring Project, providing virtual music therapy programming, one-on-one and group support sessions to our amazing patients, their families, since then.
That's awesome. That really is the perfect fusion for you, because you were interested, like I think we talked before, you were interested in maybe being a nurse, decided that wasn't the route you wanted to do. Then you thought about a counselor, but music has always been there since the beginning of your life. And you just kind of, I don't know, you went to that college campus, found the program and just realized that this is it. That's really cool.
Absolutely. It really does. And I think too, just from music meaning so much to me, and I have seen how therapeutic it's been for me throughout my life and still is today. And so it's not only just a hobby and a passion, but it really is so therapeutic and can be so healing. And so that belief in music definitely fuels me to help other people and help them kind of throughout these therapeutic experiences, just using music.
Yeah. I mean, most of us know that music is therapeutic. It can help ease anxiety. Before this, I have a routine before I go into any podcast, and I pray, I meditate. It takes me an hour just to prep for this because of my anxiety, and music is something that I do. Towards the end, I do push-ups, I dance, I kind of jump up and down and twist. I'm not a great dancer, so I just jump and twist. Listening to like Steve Aoki, Alan Walker, Morgan Page. I just dance and listen to music to kind of build my confidence and energy to get into this. So we do know that music is kind of therapeutic and has those kind of benefits, but how does music therapy differ from just listening to and playing music?
Absolutely. So music therapy, by definition, there's a music therapy association. This is a definition that comes from the American MT Association. And I'll read that off. It says music therapy is the clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals within a therapeutic space. And it is specifically what sets it apart from listening to music on your own or something like that is that it is offered. It's led by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program, which includes 1,200 clinical hours, undergraduate courses, and has passed the certification exam. So it's really the music therapist who has been trained and acquired all of these skills and knowledge about how to use music with different populations and for different goals. And so in order for it to truly be music therapy, it has to be administered or facilitated by a board certified MT who's had that training. But with that to say, there are so many experiences of music being therapeutic and those therapeutic, experiences of music. So not to downplay that either. Like you said, listening to music before this to boost your mood or just like improve your confidence and ease your anxiety. All of that is like, those are techniques that I would use in my sessions too. So there's definitely so many ways that music can be used therapeutically, but by definition, a music therapist is the one providing music therapy. Essentially, the MT is using music to achieve non-musical goals is a really good way to kind of look at it.
Yeah. So there's a lot more structure to it and a lot more, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Just more geared towards the person's interests and how to, what they're dealing with. And so a lot more structure, I guess I would say, with music therapy.
Yeah. And I think a good way to look at it with music therapy is, like speech therapy, physical therapy, OT, all of those therapies are credentialed, and you have to be a licensed professional to lead those interventions. So music therapy is the same way, having that credential and that definition in place is a way to really establish the profession, especially as it's growing. And it's funny, people either know nothing about it, or I often find people either know nothing about music therapy, or they love it because they know someone who's experienced it, or they've experienced it and they've seen how powerful it is. And so they're like, I love music therapy so much. So I think, that certification and just kind of setting those parameters in place makes us more credible, more legitimate, and just able to grow as the field becomes more established.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know. I mean, what you were just talking about with music therapy, I think what I was saying in the beginning, like I know that it's therapeutic, it boosts your mood and stuff. And I knew that when it comes to medically, it can help reduce the perception of pain and things like that. But when I was doing research, I was blown away. I thought it was so cool. Like it can, sorry, I'm so excited. So excited. I have all this like energy. But it can help with like cystic fibrosis and heart disease and all sorts of things that I didn't even think about. But when I was doing the research, it completely makes sense. Can you expand on this and maybe go into some of the scientific evidence and what kind of illnesses it may specifically help with and what it does?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, there are so many different populations that music therapy can serve, and just settings that hire music therapists. But I mean, truly, there are music therapists from the NICU helping babies learn how to suck and, drink and all of that, all the way to people like the geriatric population, people in retirement homes, or all the way up to hospice care, providing that end of life support. It's so amazing how, and I know there's so much research, and I love that you're excited about it too, because it is fascinating and so vital to see. And I think that's one thing that's tricky about music. It's like, okay, we all know that it's powerful, it's healing, but sometimes that can be abstract. So it's finding research's purpose, I think, is to make that more concrete. So some of it is really concrete in terms of helping physiologically with oxygen levels, or reducing like heart rate, lowering blood pressure, things like that. But it can also be, it can be more abstract and be more about your just emotional exploration and things like that. So kind of reading through, I am in the medical setting for music therapy, obviously. So I work with infants all the way up to clients, adult age clients. So really through pediatrics, adolescents, up to adults. And so some of the main goals for music therapy in the medical realm, for me at least, is to manage stress and anxiety, to alleviate pain, nausea, symptoms of whatever treatment a client might be going through. So, and there has been research to show actual decreased pain levels and pain scores as a result of a music therapy intervention. It also helps with just promoting positive coping with the medical journey. So the rock stars, the patients we serve at Melodic, they come to us wanting music and are facing a variety of medical battles. So these include acute and chronic illnesses. We also work with clients with disabilities, clients with mental health needs. Our program really ranges all of just people that need support. But so through that, there's a lot of different journeys and a lot of different things that those entail. And so music therapy can be used to just promote positive coping overall with a client's illness, their treatment plan, maybe when they're in the hospital, kind of alleviating that, providing some normalcy when they're hospitalized for long stints of time. It can also be used to encourage emotional expression and just the power of music, like we said, in identifying or kind of capturing emotions and feelings. Sometimes music and somebody else's song or lyrics can capture that way better than maybe we could sit down and talk about it ourselves. And so that's a huge way we use music on the social, emotional side to really just dive into how we're feeling and what we can relate to and what we need in that moment. It also is used a lot to create just a space of autonomy. So many times in the medical setting, clients don't have a lot of autonomy. They don't have a lot of say over their treatment plan or whether or not they have to go to PT or get a procedure done. And music can be a really engaging, positive experience for them. So in a day where maybe they haven't gotten to make any choices about, their appointments or anything, if they come into a music therapy session, I can sit down with them and say, what do you want to do today? What song do you want to do? Okay, what instrument do you want to play? You want to play a game? Let's do a music game. What kind of songs are we going to use in that? And it just gives them the space to make those decisions and be a kid, be a teenager, be an adult, and just kind of like put everything else on pause for a minute. I think that's always really can really be beneficial.
You're saying so many good points. In the beginning, what you were saying, music is very grounding, and it gives you that safe place to kind of explore your emotions and gain a lot of insight from yourself. I like what you were just talking about with creating autonomy, right? Yes, with your clients. What does that look like? Like, what does a first session with a client look like?
Yeah. So a first session is always focused on building rapport and establishing the therapeutic space. So before I get into my assessment, which is also a part of the initial session, is really assessing the client and the client's therapeutic needs, their music interests, all of that. The first thing I want to do is build rapport, get to know the client, get to know their family, if their family is involved and around, and just see them in their environment. So what do they enjoy doing? What's some of their favorite music, or, and also a big part of building a big part of building rapport is establishing trust. And so before we can have a productive therapeutic relationship, a client has to trust me and trust the space that we're in. So I always want to honor their emotions, their feelings, what they bring into the space, and let them know that they can come in feeling whatever way they're feeling and having whatever interests, and we'll navigate our time together based on that. And then I go into a little bit of a music therapy assessment, which really looks like a session. We're exploring some of their interests, and we might start off with a couple different interventions, but all of that, I'm asking questions, I'm getting to know them and seeing what kind of sparks maybe some interest for them, or what I feel like they would really benefit from musically based on our conversation and our interaction. And from there, I really want to hear from them and make them more comfortable. So answer any questions, talk to them about all the fun things we can do together, and see what they're interested in.
So obviously you cater your therapy, your program through the music interests that they have, but through, specific maybe physical therapy or the rehabilitation process, or what role does, rhythm, melody, and harmony kind of play in all of this?
A big role. It plays a big role. It's actually fascinating how much music can be used for rehabilitation. So a big goal of music therapy sometimes is a motor movement and functioning, or habilitation, rehabilitation. There's something called music entrainment that is a strategy used a lot in music therapy. And this might be used more in a rehabilitation center or an in-person setting, but that is where you are establishing a clear tempo, a clear rhythm with your music, and you are matching or getting your client to match that with their gait. So how they're walking, and or just how they're moving in one way or another. And instead of creating movements or working on gait in silence, something about having that music and having that steady beat can really guide it and promote more movement and just kind of encourage that overall. So
that can help with like cerebral palsy and movement disorders.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It can help with movement disorders. It can help with after receiving rehabilitation after an accident or, some form of trauma. If someone has an injury and they're working to improve that, it can help in geriatric care. A lot of times music therapists, I used to do some practicum hours when I was in college at a retirement home, and we did movement to music all the time and they would, the clients would be sitting in their chairs, but I would be choosing a song that they know, maybe from the 70s, 80s, way back when, and they would be, and I would lead them through different movements as it's related to the music, and really kind of trying to promote that movement through music.
Do one thing I'm actually curious about? I have a lot of curious things I want to ask. One is, I struggle with insomnia. And so I've tried all sorts of things, and this has more to do with sound than music. They recommend listening to white noise or brown noise and different things to kind of calm the brain down. Is there certain types of genres, pace? How do you incorporate? I'm trying to think of how does all of this kind of affect the brain? And do you know what I'm trying to say that you could say it for me?
The best music to use for relaxation or things?
Yeah, I guess for different therapeutic goals.
Yeah. So it really depends. I'll state it with the in there. So choosing music incorporates a lot of different elements. So one element of that is, first and foremost, honoring the music choices of the client. So what they are interested in, again, going back to that piece about autonomy. When it relates to otherwise, it really depends on the goal. So if the goal is relaxation, I am going to incorporate a song that has a slower tempo. And instead of maybe strumming, even how I'm playing it. So instead of strumming really fast or really loud, I might pluck the strings, do a little arpeggiated scale that I'm playing, as opposed to strumming really loudly, if I want it to be conducive to relaxation. If I am working with a client and trying to get them moving and I want to increase that movement, the speed of the movement, I'll increase the speed of my song and the tempo I'm playing. So it really depends on, again, what the goal is and then the client's choice. There is also another awesome way to use it when we're trying to regulate our emotions. And that's where I would start the tempo of the music a little faster. Say if a client is feeling anxious or feeling really worked up, or feel like they can't calm down, I would start the music sort of matching that with the tempo. So thinking more loud or just faster, and then slowly, gradually slowing it down and hoping that as I slow down the music, they also kind of slow down their mind a bit, maybe even their breathing slows down and their heart rate, and then they're actually feeling more relaxed by the end of it. So that's another thing. It's we're either meeting them where they're at, we're meeting them but trying to change it, or we're starting somewhere else and hoping that they meet us, by coming down to that relaxing state.
Yeah. And another thing that I find fascinating about music and therapy is, it helps stroke victims, with people that lose language. It helps people with autism. I have autism. It's completely changed my life because I will experience moments where I go nonverbal if I'm overstimulated or overwhelmed. And, this is how the whole Here's Hope project kind of got started to begin with, because I couldn't speak and I struggled communicating, and music is what gave me a voice. And so I just started creating these music videos, and it, gave me an opportunity to kind of process my emotions and my thoughts and really just get everything out. What is your experience with those, that may have autism or struggle verbally, or stroke victims or things like that?
Mm-hmm. We also at Melodic, and just in my work, I have worked with several clients with autism as well, or various maybe speech language disorders, all sorts of things. And music can be used for that speech language development, for cognitive development, all of those things. So sometimes we will use music when we are learning about tasks or learning about making choices or steps that go along with an activity. So again, that goes back to the individual client's goals. Say a client is working with a behavior therapist who is teaching them the steps to getting ready for school in the morning. I might incorporate a song into that. So based on what their parents say, this is what we're learning, I might create a step-by-step song that helps with that, or sing some songs that encourage verbalizations, maybe incorporate some vocabulary words that they're working on, and those sorts of things to prompt those answers. We'll also sometimes incorporate sign language into it. So if there's, I am not a sign language expert by any means, but if a client communicates through sign language, I want to bring that into the space too. So I'll offer music and they can, tell me yes or no non-verbally with what they want to hear next, or with pictures, like point to the picture that you want to hear next. Is it a bus because you want wheels on the bus, or are you going to point to the cow because you want Old MacDonald Had a Farm? Like all sorts of things like that. So we're trying to always make it an interactive space. And over time, if a goal is to increase verbalizations or help with turn taking or just socialization, anything like that. And again, it completely varies by client and age and all of that. But over time, we hope that music can be a motivator in a way that sometimes just speaking can't be. And so sometimes even singing their responses versus speaking them can even be more beneficial.
Oh, this is great. Good stuff. Thank you. I actually want to bring on, so for those listening, Melodic Caring Project, we have rock stars, and the rock stars are the kids battling illness. And so we say they're the rock stars. We're their number one fans. And I would like to bring on one of these rock stars. Katie is her music therapist. Francesca, let me bring her on here, unmute her. Hi, Francesca.
Hi, Sarah Jane. Hi, Katie.
Hey.
Oh, love it. The three of us. So Francesca, you deal with quite a bit of ailments and illnesses. You have complex regional pain syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, mast cell disease. I know I'm missing some, but what before you got involved with Melodic Caring Project, and Katie, what was your perception of music therapy? What did you know about it?
Yeah, so I thought that I didn't really know anything about music therapy until listening to you guys talk, because I think I've actually had music therapy without actually realizing it. When Katie was saying about the gait training, with walking to the music. So when I was younger, in hospital, I was rehabilitating and learning to walk again. And so I actually used that as a technique to be able to help me. But as I was preparing for this, I thought that I hadn't known anything about music therapy. But when Katie emailed me and asked, I was so intrigued and actually like to give it a go online as well, which has been incredible.
That's great. Can you give any examples of maybe how your sessions with Katie have helped with maybe the physical symptoms and things that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so I would say, like, with music therapy, it's helped me both physically, mentally, and emotionally, and kind of spiritually as well. Kind of incorporating everything into the session. And it's helped me not only with my medical symptoms and processing everything that I have to go through medically, but every aspect of my life. So say like a family death or something like that, is able to kind of incorporate every aspect of my life. An example of that, to help with symptoms. So I had a surgery earlier this year, and so the evening before, I was really struggling. I was really overwhelmed and really not really very communicative. And we hopped on Zoom, and Katie just kind of looked at one look at me and just started playing my favorite music, and it really helped to just calm my system down and be able to regulate my body and help me kind of drift off to sleep, ready for the next morning. So it's really, really helpful so much.
Are there any techniques that Katie does with you specifically that you like and find most helpful?
Yeah, so I'm a very wordy person. So I love lyrics to songs. That's the first thing that kind of sticks out to me. So one of my favorite techniques is lyric analysis. So we would choose a song that's related to something that I'm either struggling with in the present day or that I need to kind of heal from trauma-wise in the past, and then we would bring up the lyrics, and then we would listen to the song first and then go through the lyrics together to be able to kind of pick out different themes and different words. Like Katie said earlier, sometimes when you're listening to music, it helps you to heal in a way that you can't verbalize, and so that's been really helpful to be able to link that to a situation in my life. And then my other favorite one is to do music relaxation and breathing to music to just really help me to calm my body down and help me to regulate it and really help with pain as well, which has been probably one of the most life-changing techniques we've been doing together.
That's really cool. I love when you were talking about the lyric analysis. I never actually thought of that. I don't know, for me, with music and with lyrics and things like that, music is very visual to me. It's very colorful. And anytime I listen to a song, I always have some type of music video playing in my head. And for me, I'm kind of able to, through the lyrics, process, thoughts, feelings, life, feeling connected to people in the world through other people's stories. So I kind of take that and put it on someone else to kind of understand, because for some reason it's hard for me to, I don't know, like with me, like I don't know, saying I feel this, or putting it on someone else and having a different story helps me process things. But for you, it sounds like you just go through the lyrics and you immediately apply it to your life.
I would say so. Like, different songs that I've heard in my life have helped me through different times in my life, especially with the lyrics. Very similar to what you were saying, Sarah Jane, in the way that I resonate with a song and then be able to kind of pick out the lyrics that help me kind of understand things on a deeper level, if that makes sense, in my life.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I'd really love now if we could just take a moment to hand things back to Katie so she can give all of us listening just a sample of maybe something that you would hear and go through with a therapy session with her. Do you have something planned, Katie?
Yes, I do. Let's do it. So Francesca and I have worked together for, over how many years at this point? I mean, it's been ongoing.
Yeah.
So we have established that therapeutic relationship and practice these interventions a lot. And so because of that, one of the ones that you mentioned, Francesca, the music assisted guided relaxation and kind of breathing exercise is one we've done quite a few times. And so Francesca at this point really takes the lead on how quickly she needs to breathe and kind of setting the pace for herself. But this exercise is meant to help with grounding, help to just kind of calm our system by really being intentional about our breathing and slowing that down. And one way we do that is by I will play some music. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll be strumming it like that instead of a loud kind of thing. So we're going at a slow pace. And the goal is that as I lead the song, Francesca will match her breathing. So her breath, she'll breathe in on one chord, and on the next chord, she'll breathe out and kind of connect the chords with her breathing, while at the same time keeping her ultimate and final say. So if at any point, I'm only human. If I start going too fast or too slow, Francesca can decide if she wants to continue with me or, keep at her own pace. But the goal is that I would keep a steady pace and Francesca can really focus on relaxing and taking those deep breaths.
So with the song that you're about to play, should we focus on our breathing?
Yes. So with this song, I'm going to start with a little kind of just breathe. I don't even know how to say it. I'm going to start with a little song that I actually learned from a colleague, and it's about breathing in, breathing out, being aware of what you're feeling. And then we're going to go into a very slowed down, calm version of The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. So as I do this, with every chord change, like I said, I want you to think about a breath in or out. So starting with that breath in and then breath out on the next change. If you want to join in too, Sarah Jane, go right ahead. But be aware of what you need. And if lying down is best, do that. If sitting upright is best, do that. Same with your eyes. So if you want to close your eyes, or, if keeping them open will help you be grounded as well, just do what's best for you. So we're going to start with this breathe in, breathe out. In just a second here. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel it here, feel it now, how the breath moves inside of me. I can do anything. So get comfortable with those breaths. I want you to picture your stomach, your lungs being like a balloon. So as you breathe in, that balloon expands. As you breathe out, the balloon gets smaller. And just be aware of that constant in and out that you experience as you take those deep breaths. Sometimes visualizing it can really help that. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out or looked down on. Just try your best, keep those breaths in and out. Try everything you can. Don't you worry what they tell themselves when you're away. We're going to go into the chorus. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Keep those breaths. We're going to go into the second verse here. Hey, you know they're all the same. You know you're doing better on your own. So don't buy in. Live right now. Yeah, just be yourself. It doesn't matter if it's good enough for someone else. One more chorus here. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Take a couple more breaths in and out. And again, back out. As you keep breathing, whenever you're ready, open your eyes again. Feel the seat or the bed underneath you. Become aware of your surroundings again. Whenever you're ready. And carry that relaxation, that kind of restful breathing throughout your day as best you can.
I'm so chill now.
That's great.
It's funny, you have such a soothing voice, and I really love that you incorporated kind of visual things in the beginning too, along with the breath work with like the balloon. Yeah, it's just so funny because before the podcast, I listened to EDM and I just get so hyped up. And then during this episode, I was just, because we're talking about music, this is my heart. And so I think I made some funny faces and was stimming a little bit. For those who not notice or that don't know, stimming is just kind of like a repetitive moment or movement. But yeah, I just feel so calm and And now I'm realizing we're recording. And so I have to get my energy back up a bit.
That's okay. I mean, the beauty of music, right? And even just taking a second to breathe and to think about that, because I mean, I have to be intentional about that, or else I don't think about that one time in my day. And so in the music therapy space, it kind of provides that opportunity to be intentional about it. And, whatever level of kind of imagery you want to incorporate, there's all sorts of kind of levels to this. So I think of a progressive muscle relaxation. This is kind of like the first level, like the most kind of open and free. And then we get into a more guided muscle relaxation, and then a guided imagery where you're really thinking visually and, taking in all of these visual elements that you have in your mind as it's kind of being introduced musically. So there's all sorts of levels to that, and just depends on what you are comfortable with. But definitely a lot that can happen when you're intentional with your breathing and you're just auditory listening to music.
Yeah, very grounding, and really brings you into the moment. Thank you so much for that. That was a beautiful example. It was perfect. I hope none of our listeners fell asleep and were driving or anything like that. But yes, I am so grateful to have had you on. For those of you listening, again, Katie and I, and we're all part of the Melodic Caring Project. Francesca is actually an ambassador. For the Melodic Caring Project, they stream live concerts to kids too, and give them shout outs on stage. You can have one-on-one sessions with Katie. They do music nominations. So even if you know anyone that's struggling or going through a rough time, you can nominate them to receive a song. Am I forgetting anything else? They do group sessions. Anything else?
Yes, that's our 4 core programs. So our Rockstar song requests, like you said, where you can sign up, or you can nominate someone to receive a song, the one-on-one and group sessions, and the live streams. So,
yeah. And you can find all this at melodiccaringproject.org. Wait, hold on a second. Is it melodiccaring.org or is it
melodiccaring.org?
Thank you. That would be horrible. Melodic Caring Project. melodiccaring.org. I will write it in the description. But feel free also to reach out to me personally. Yes. You can also, do you want your personal email address or just Rockstar at Melodic Caring?
Either one is, I know I end up doing both, but.
Well, it's Katie at melodiccaring.org or Rockstar at melodiccaring.org. Or just reach out to me via Facebook or, through the Here's Hope Project page. Sarah Jane Walsh is my name. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. But yes, thank you. I think that's about it. We're going to sign off here, but thank you. Appreciate everything. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.